Whoa. Whoa. Resurrections. He actually never says "whoa" in the movie. Amazingly, I mean, you get the line in the trailer where it's like, "I still know kung fu." Um, well, I don't think I've actually ever really given my take on the Matrix movies. And that's mostly because ever since I've been doing this channel, there has never been a Matrix movie out for me to review. However, I mean, I guess now is a good enough time as any to kind of give you my take on them. I fall into a rare group of people where I'm not a big fan of the Matrix movies. Any of them, including the first one. I think this comes from the fact I just got introduced to them pretty late in life. I didn't get introduced to them back when they came out. I got introduced to them much later when they came out. And I admire them for what they did and like just revolutionized all special effects and movie industry. Wow. Why can't I say industry? Not industry. Interest. This is bothering me. Why can't I say industry? Industry. There we go. Industry. God, why was I struggling with that word? Industry. The movie affects industry. They've been. I admire them for what they did, but I just never got into them. I just felt like it was. I'm like, okay, we get this concept, okay, but by the time I got around to it, I'm like, I've seen this done before and better. So, but I recognize them for what they are, and and what they've accomplished and achieved and all that. So I'm not against them by any stretch of the means. So, what was my take on this movie? Well, this film's getting some pretty mixed reviews. As it stands, last I knew, this film was in like the 70-ish percentile of Rotten Tomatoes with the critical reviews. I haven't been able to check what the audience reviews were, but one second. My internet is being really. My internet's pissing me off is what it's doing. 1 second here. Okay, we gonna turn on Wi-Fi to connect to available Wi-Fi manual. Nope. We're moving back there, putting it back on. Maybe me turning it on and off on my computer is the problem. Because I don't know what the problem is. Lately, my internet has just been going in and out, disconnecting and reconnecting. It's just been really freaking irritating. But anyway, it's like got an overall positive review from the critics. I don't know how fans are kind of like, it's a hot mess, but it's kind of fun. Look, I gotta be straight. This is not a good movie. It's got good things in it. That's the thing. It's got good things in it. It's got good ideas. It's still got a couple good action sequences here and there, but it's just not well put together. Honestly, I'll try not to spoil anything, but you can kind of get the idea from. I won't spoil anything that you can't kind of put together, even from the trailers. Obviously, you see that Neo is back, Thomas Anderson is back, and Trinity's back. But how is that possible? They're dead by the end of the movie. There's a new Morpheus. They do address too. This is not the same Morpheus. There's this whole new issue going on. Why do they need to pull him out? What's the importance of Trinity and Tom? Like, what's going on? And is it really weird to say that the best parts of this movie are kind of just them talking? Like when they're legitimately just having conversations, it's not terrible. But anytime we're going into like, action sequence, 90% of the time, you can't even make out what's going on. The only times I could understand what was going on in the scene was the training sequence with Neo and Morpheus. You see that in the trailer. The fight sequence with Tom and a character. That's kind of implied in the trailer, but I won't give that away. A character. And the bike chase you see later in the film. Those are the only ones where you can actually see what's going on most of the time. Otherwise, it's all just boom, boom, it's all that. And that's, oh God, it's so terribly edited. Like, if the action sequences actually had clarity to them, I'd say this film would probably be getting a notch up. But, ugh. But you know what? That's the least of this film's problems. I will say all the actors are fine. I mean, Keanu, I like Keanu a lot, especially in the John Wick role. And I liked him as Constantine, to be frank. Not he's not the comic Constantine, to be sure, but I do like him as Constantine. But God Almighty, just listening to him kind of just try to talk and emote in this, I'm like, it just doesn't work for me. And then you get characters returning, characters who are connected to the previous characters of the movie, and it's like, hey, you remember these things? Well, here they are. And into that, this one's like 2 hours long. This film didn't need to be that long at all. It is such a slog to the first 20 or 30 minutes. No joke. It is so unbearably irritating to deal with. Because it's so brazenly meta that my girlfriend and I were both just cringing in our seats. Just like, oh my God, how freaking meta can you? Because they say it in trailers, like, back to the Matrix. Now that's not a big spoiler. The Matrix basically in this movie exists in a medium, in a video game movie kind of franchise thing, and Neo is the architect of it, if you will. Sure, the architect of it. And yeah, the how blatantly just obvious they are about like it. There's meta that works, and there's meta where it's like, what are you doing? Like, how dumb do you think the audience is, or just do you not care? They literally talk about Warner Brothers at one point making a fourth Matrix. Like, yeah, you didn't want to make it. It's like they're basically this. Someone basically put it best. Like, this feels like a movie where the people who were making it didn't want to make it. That they were like held hostage to make it, and it really shows. I like Yahya. His first name's Yahya. He played Candyman, honestly, in the recent Candyman that came out this year. And I like that movie far better than this. He's good as Morpheus. This is a very different Morpheus than what we had in the original. And there's things about this Morpheus that I like beyond just the character, because an aspect of this character has to deal with an aspect of the movie is the idea of new concepts being introduced to the Matrix franchise. They do actually expand on the Matrix to some degree. Like technological advancements, the concepts within concepts. Like a program within a program, for example. The machines and humans, working together on some. There's many different concepts that are explored. None of that is a real spoiler. Because the problem is they don't really go into a lot of depth on some of it. It does play a factor, but it's just the stuff that I like these new concepts, just aren't the focus of the movie, unfortunately, and they kind of should be. Because, you get these actors who are still trying their damnedest. It's the only time I've ever given a F about that Trinity Neo romance. I actually finally kind of cared a little bit about those two in this, because you do kind of, even though they are still kind of bland in terms of their direction, because it's still Lana Wachowski doing it, there does seem to be a bit more spark in them in this case. Especially actually in Neo, surprisingly. And to some degree Trinity. Definitely to some degree Trinity. So there is actually some life into like their own performance a little bit, which is a lot more than we got in the original, to be honest. Original 3. But then there are just callbacks that make no sense. And oh my God, if you don't know this is the Matrix, folks, let me tell you as I take the glasses off to bring this to you. If you don't know this is the freaking Matrix franchise, don't worry, they will remind you. Almost every 5 freaking minutes, there's a maybe not that much, but really in like the first half hour or so, there's like a flashback for like a 15-second cut to a shot from the original Matrix. And it is just painful to, hey, you remember this? Hey, you remember this? Hey, you remember this? Yeah, anyone watching this movie probably is either a fan of the franchise or at least knows about the franchise. So yeah, we know about this. I will say it served one narrative point when a character shows up who is a character from the original series that we would not have thought would show up. And we're like, who is this character? Oh, that was the character. Thank you. Moving on. didn't really need to be that character. It could have just been a different thing entirely, but no, okay, that's that character, whatever. And then some of them are painful. So there's a scene where a character from one of the past movies shows up. And oh my god, it was just, I was just watching it like, oh, make it stop. Make it stop. Why? Get to the action sequence. At least that'll be like lovely, colorful movement moving around for what it's worth. Just, and there's Neil Patrick Harris. I'm not going to say too much on his character. He is in more of the movie than just that scene you see him in. It's not like a one-shot scene. No, he actually does play an important part in the movie. I'm just not going to say what it is. So, yeah. And the reveal, and then again, not spoiling anything, of how Neo and Trinity not only survived, but why, it's important they survived. I'm like, okay, what does this ultimately serve? What is the actual point of this? Is it to do like one thing or another? Because I'm thinking like, okay, this is different. But so you're saying the reason Neo actually was incapable of even doing anything he did in the original 3 was because of this. So even if you don't really, even whether you like the first 3 movies or hate them or dislike or whatever, doesn't that kind of detract from his whole point in the movie to begin with? I don't get it. Like, what was the point of this? And I guess that's the kind of question you ask the movie as a whole. It's like, you look at it, you watch it, and you ask yourself, what was the point of this? I have no answer to that. It's not god-awful. I looked through all the movies I saw this year, and this isn't the worst. This will probably make my worst list. I've still got Sing 2, The King's Man, and maybe something else next week to see. Because Cyrano, unfortunately, does not come out next week, so I'm going to see if I can find something else to watch. But ultimately, yeah, I just don't, not my taste. And it kind of lends itself to why I wasn't a fan of the other Matrix movies. But look, this is just my opinion. Maybe you think different. If you do, that's cool. Let me know in the comments below why you think different. Till then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm going to be pre-recording my What If for Christmas. I will probably do a review for whatever movie I see on Christmas Day, but that's neither here nor there. I'm pre-recording the What If for Christmas for today. So I'm pre-recording the What If for tomorrow, today, so I don't actually have to do anything tomorrow. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks later. Have a good one and a Merry Christmas.